No better. Okay. Who came here for seller financing?
Let's go.
Okay, we're having that another session. You can leave now. I did change it at the last minute. So we're actually going to do a slightly different presentation. Actually, it's going to be completely different. This weekend, we're having a special event. We're going through a course taught by yours truly about the promissory notes and private lending. So we're going to spend the first 15 minutes, and hopefully I can do in 15 minutes a 45-minute presentation that covers 2 days of classes. Okay, so I will warn you now that these slides that I will have up, there's a lot of detail on it. Don't try and read it. Just kind of listen quickly about what I have to say about this as a high-level overview for the classes coming up this weekend. And following the presentation, this short one, hopefully I can do it in 15 minutes, we're going to have an exchanger session. Who does not know what an exchanger session is? Raise your hand. Oh, come on. Two people who know the exchanger session extremely well raise their hands. Okay, so we try to have these exchanger sessions once a quarter, and we do this because during the daytime we have this as a weekly session on Wednesdays from noon to 2. We get a lot of deals done. We get a lot of education done at the same time. But for everyone who still has a W-2, you get to miss out on those things. So that's why we try and have it on a quarterly basis so that we can see what happens and you can participate as well. Okay, so I promise it's a lot of fun. Okay, so who's familiar with notes and private lending? Yeah, some of you, right? Yeah, because you've done deals either on your own or with other members in the club. Some of you have done deals with me. Sometimes that was your first deal. Sometimes it's just a check to go ahead and see whether you have the right paperwork, whether you have the right processes. Just another set of eyes to look over what you have. All right, let's see if I can get this working. Yeah, it works. Okay, sponsors. I know we have Evan. Evan, do you want to say a few words?
Yeah, Evan Brown from Surcash Deals and Sell My House. I'm a wholesaler, fix-and-flipper, housing provider from Barstow down in Temecula. And if you have any situation, I'm always buying property. If you have a situation or a property or a seller, you're not sure what to do, hoarder house or title issue, or someone just passed away and they need to bury the body, let me know, and we'll go deal with it, talk to the family, and arrange for everything, and take care of it.
Okay.
Anyway, you can reach me at evan@sellmyhouse.com or go track me down.
Okay, and you'll be here afterwards for people to ask you questions, things like that too.
I'm going to run out a little bit, sorry. I'm on my motorcycle tonight. I have a lighting issue.
Okay, and I think I saw Yesenia.
I'm here.
Okay, Yesenia, why don't you go ahead?
Oh, my name is Yesenia. I'm with Inspire Escrow. If you're looking for someone that can help you generate business and just be there for you, give me a call.
Good. And Lee.
Hi, I'm Lee Miller with the Security Broker. I offer home security systems and solar for investors. I can actually get someone a brand new roof and go solar for less money than they're paying to Edison per month. And I pay $1,000 for anyone that you refer that ends up going solar.
Okay, did I miss anyone? Anything about the club? Outside of the other announcements? Okay. All right. Who went on our last cruise? Yeah, that was fun. Yeah. Who wants to go on our next one? Or next two? Yeah. Good. All right. Sign up. Of course, I could speak more about that, but yeah, just go ahead and sign up. I don't think you'll regret it at all. It was a lot of fun. Yeah. Here's the other one too. This one should be a lot of fun. Okay, so and okay, hats. We have hats out here. They're available. 25% off. Oh. Okay, instead of 40, they're 30. Yeah, I know that guy. Okay, who signed up for my class? Good. Who needs help signing up for the class? No. Seriously, who needs help signing up for the class? So what I mean by that, if you have money to lend, but you don't have money to take care of the class, we are going to put up an exchanger deal later on. And I'm typically the one who does educational type deals. So it's not just for my event. You typically see this for other events too. Okay.
That handsome guy out there, huh?
I think that might be the last one then.
Last one? Okay. How do we switch to the next one? Okay. There we go. Yeah. Here's my presentation that I just did for LA RIA. So again, this was a 45-minute presentation. I think it actually ran a little bit longer than that. I am going to try and do it in 15 minutes. Okay, so if you have questions, try and hold it to afterwards, so we can make that 15 minutes, and then I will be here as long as someone has questions to ask, so that shouldn't be a problem. But here's the details again to be able to sign up for the class. And again, during the exchanger session, you'll see me put up an educational offer. Okay, so this is the typical disclaimer. I'm not licensed for anything other than a motor vehicle and maybe a sidearm in some states that are more friendly to them than others. Other than that, I don't claim to have any other knowledge. This is just education. I'm not counseling you. I'm not giving you legal advice. You're not paying for this. This is just education. Okay, here's a long version of my past history, how I got into real estate. There's a lot of detail in here. I don't expect everyone to read through all this, but if you watch K-dramas like I do, you can read pretty fast. All right, and one thing about these kind of events, if you partner up with someone and you basically say, okay, you take the top half and I take the bottom half, and then you guys take notes and you get together, you can cover a lot of stuff. All right, partnering up with people is a good thing. This is one of the things that I talk about frequently in the class. Okay, more about that, just more detail. Okay, you know that I'm here in Southern California. Okay, that's all you need to know. Right, because it talks about where I've been. Okay, what counts now is where I'm at. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and relay my experiences to you. Okay, here's something I want you to fully understand. And I will even read it out for you. Learning from others is less expensive than learning from one's own experience. Okay, who has made a costly mistake? Yeah. You remember those, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when you go and you take education and someone else talks about their mistake, you don't really remember all those stories, do you? Right? Because it didn't happen to you. the ones that you remember, the ones you tell other real estate investors, yeah, those are painful stories. Those are the ones you're going to tell for the rest of your life. Okay, so it's cheaper for you to learn from education, pay for education, than to pay for it from experience. Okay, here's some of what we're going to be covering in terms of the class. This is some of the details that we cover in the promissory note. Okay, don't try and go through all the detail because there's more. And guess what? There's even more. So this is just buying the note. Here's holding the note. Holding is the easy part, right? Most of the work you do is up front. Then after that, you get paid, right? So unlike other projects, you basically go through and you do this note, and then once a month, depending on when that note is due, you check your online account or your bank account, and you see, okay, I got paid. All right, that's it for this month, for that particular note. Okay, and every day you're waiting for that note to get paid off, you know, you get excited, you know, sometimes in a good sense, sometimes in a not so good sense. Okay, but after it gets paid, okay, that's it for this month. All right, so notes is kind of boring. So it's really, when you get a note and you do something good with it, it's boring, right? You only really learn things when there's a problem. Then it gets exciting. Boy, does it. So I can tell you I'm having some excitement in my life right now. Okay. Now, this is in here for those of you who may want to give up part of your boring life when it's a note. I've never sold one of my notes yet because I like my notes. Okay. But if you ever get the itch to sell your note, there's certain things that you need to know about it. We'll cover that too. And something that we do a lot here in the Inland Empire, hypothecations. Most of that is with mobile and manufactured homes. We'll go through some of those details so that way you understand that process too, because we do a lot of that here. Now we go into the private lending portion. Lots of things to know about here, but it's all fun stuff, right? And how you get to learn this? Well, we do exercises. So I'm going to present the list of exercises so you can see what it is we're going to try and cover. And some of these are directly related to private lending, some of it related to notes, some of it you may not understand why until after I explain it. Here's going to be one of those word problems. One of the prerequisites, if you don't know already, is that you need to know how to use the financial calculator. If you do not know how to use a financial calculator, today is Wednesday night. Bill Tan is having a session right now. And it's free. But you have to attend it right now. He's probably having it right now.
Good plan.
Okay. And we go through other examples. And here's some of the details about what we cover specifically in the promissory note itself. Some of it you may know, some of it may be a surprise to you. Okay, here's one of the exercises. And I'll even put up the questions so that way you can kind of think about it. We won't go into this, you have to take the class. All right. How many of you have a promissory note on you right now? Raise your hand. Okay. I'm going to teach you right now. I'll bet just about everyone in this room has a promissory note either on their person somewhere, and if you pull out a dollar bill, you will see at the top of it on the front, you will say Federal Reserve Note. That is a promissory note issued by your government. Okay, it used to be backed, okay, those of you who are old enough to remember this, used to be backed by a precious metal, either silver or gold. Okay, it's not backed by that anymore. We'll go into some detail as to why and what happened. Talk about the kind of notes, secured and unsecured, what kind of verbiage you should see in your documents, how to read through and validate a note that you see. I can tell you in the past 60 days, I've come across several notes that had problems in there where normally you would expect a attorney or title company to have read through and double checked things, and you think that everything would be good, and probably within 10 minutes of my getting it and taking a look at it, I find problems. So some can be expensive problems. One that I found was a $2,000 problem, but the other ones can be pretty expensive. So we know that these notes are secured. We go through the detail of how that security works. And we go into detail. This is not a notes and private lending for dummies class. I am going to blow your heads up. Yeah, I'm a former IT guy, 40 plus years. Okay, I can do that. I like the detail. And I do this because I want to make sure you get the right kind of education. I don't want you to make mistakes. I don't want you to be learning from your own experience. Okay? And because we do so much with mobile manufactured homes, I go into a lot of California specific stuff. And I also go into what I find are better practices than what I've been taught. And I've been taught by a lot of people. So I try to improve on those wherever I can. Okay, I know I'm going through this very quickly. I know it's a lot. But I promise you, if you do take the class, you will have your mind blown. I think the last count I had on the size of the manual was 220 something odd pages. And that was basically just a straight brain dump. Okay, and that's trying to go down some rabbit holes, but not every single rabbit hole. So I know I could probably, if I started chasing down more about notes and more about private lending, I could probably double that. But not in time for this class. So I also provide some details about my own practices, some of which I've learned, some of which I've developed on my own. And I go through some pretty good, interesting stuff too. So what you see here is an all-inclusive trust deed. So this is what we call a wrap note. Okay, most of the time people talk about this in concept, and it's great. It took me probably 20 plus years to understand how a wrap worked with notes. And then one day I got it. Just one day I got it. Okay, and then I figured, okay, so now that I understand the concept, how do I paper this? How do I write this up? Oh my goodness. It took me a long time to find the paperwork that actually would do it. Okay, so in this one class, I'll try to explain wraps and give you paperwork or provide you samples of paperwork that will actually allow you to get it done. boy, even something like, okay, I'm going to get paid off. And they ask you, okay, so how much do we owe you? You don't know that already? I have to figure this out? Oh, great. Okay, I actually walk you through this process. And I make it very simple. Now, there's lots of different ways to calculate this. So I'll go through some of the different ways, but you choose how you want to go and do it. Okay, so that's it for my 45-minute presentation covering my 2-day class. And we're actually able to get it done in time. So now we're going to switch over to questions real quick before we get going into the exchanger sessions. Okay, questions.
I saw it said UPB. What does that mean? On the last slide it said UPB or unpaid balance.
Yeah, so UPB is an acronym for unpaid balance.
Oh,
So when we look at a note, when the note has never had any payments made on it, it's what we call a fresh or table note. No payments made, unseasoned note. Once payments are being made on it, then we have to ask the question, what is the current UPB on the note? UPB being the unpaid balance. So we may be told one figure, we'll double check that. How many payments have you received and what amounts were those payments? And then we will recheck what that UPB actually is. Because more often than not, we will get the wrong answers either way. And then we teach you how, well, you should already have knowledge of the financial calculator, but we'll spin through again how you run through an amortization schedule. And that is one of the parts to go ahead and relearn as well. If you learned it but never used it and forgot all about it, you're going to learn it again. That's part of the process of checking out a note. So, good question. Who else has a question? Yes.
Can you talk about your due diligence on the notes for some, for notes that are local, but then also either out of state or at a distance?
So I've purchased a few notes that were out there. So I have notes in, I think, Texas, Michigan. I might still have some Ohio. I don't think I have any in Georgia at this point. More of my notes are originated or self-originated because I'm a lender. So I create the notes as we go. So one of the notes that I bought, I would say my very first note. I don't want to go into a lot of time because there's a good story behind this, but man, this note had a lot of problems. Okay, and I was so green after even taking my class, which was, I think, a 4-day class on seller finance notes taught by one of the top people in the US. And I thought I did pretty good. And I took a look at this note, and being a note buyer, you're basically taught only one way to go ahead and buy a note, and that is to just discount the note. And your discount could be just off the cuff, oh, I want X amount of dollars as a discount, and I think I'm okay with that. Or if you actually learn how to use the financial calculator, you'll figure out this is the yield I want to have on that note, and you'll discount it by that particular yield. Well, this one has so many flaws in it. And it was a good thing because I asked for help. I asked my mentor to review the note just to make sure I was making a good decision. And boy, she took me to task. He said, "Did you catch this?" No. I hope that was it. No, there's about 4 other issues with this note. Oh, shoot. So, another reason why I'm teaching this class, because you don't get to learn everything. And by the way, did I already say this is not a notes and private lending 101 or for dummies? Okay, so I cover a lot of detail. This is still an introduction. Okay, keep that in mind. So when you look at the kind of detail that I provide, and I still call this an introductory class, keep in mind that there's more behind this. Okay, I want to make sure you understand this because private lending is not necessarily for the faint of heart. Okay, when you have tens of thousands of dollars that you loan out, most of the people are going to think, what is my return on investment? One of my mentors actually summed it up a little bit differently. It should not be the return on investment that you're looking at. It should be the return of investment. That's a difference. Make sure that when you qualify who you're lending to, what you are lending on, how you are doing this lending, that you are trying to give yourself the best possible chance to get your money back. Most private lenders are chasing yields. They're looking at the numbers. They're envisioning these dollar signs in their pockets already. Don't do that. Yeah, try and get your money back first. And I'll talk about why I do the things that I do versus what you might see as generally accepted practices elsewhere. Okay, so going back to due diligence. If I lend on a property, would this property be okay if everything went south and I had to take it over and finish the rehab myself? I better be able to handle that. Or I better know people who are willing to go ahead and do that, or buy it as is, if I just don't want to deal with the headache myself. Okay, be prepared to own it. And if you don't like it, if you do end up owning it, it's probably not the property you want to lend on. Okay, does that help answer your question? Okay, yeah, it's okay if you want to ask more about it.
What if it's a second position note?
Second position, okay. Second position, so for you who don't know what that means, okay, there's a loan already taken out on a given property. And if you're considering lending in the second position, and this being California, it's not unusual to see third and fourth, and sometimes even a fifth position. So second position is any junior positions considered riskier. So if you're lending on that, don't expect rates under 10%, maybe not even under 12%, maybe not even 13 or 14%. It just depends. What's your relationship with your borrower? How strong is this collateral? What does the first position lien look like? Those are all kinds of things that you need to take into consideration before lending on it. And by the way, if you do go south on it, junior positions are usually the ones that get wiped out. Wiped out means that your lien on the property can be taken off, and now, even though you still have a valid note, it is now unsecured. So are you willing to go through the trouble of getting a judgment to then try and attach it to something else later on? Okay, so this is why second position or junior liens, generally you have a higher rate plus points than a first position. Okay, good question. Any other questions? Okay. We ready to move over to exchangers?